Welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two gripping Formula One fans. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your Everyone's a Winner host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the 1978 season, part one. So let's go.
Everyone's a winner. I don't think that's a good sentiment for Formula One, Luigi. No, not everyone's a winner.
We're recording this in October 2025. According to 2025 McLaren, everyone's a winner.
Yeah, how's that going for them?
Yeah,
they might actually lose everything.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like, isn't it? No,
yes.
You're right. Not everyone can be a winner. Do you know the song?
Yes, I do. I don't know who sings it though.
Yeah, I as you know, Rosa, last week I had some internet issues, and as part of the waiting process, I decided I might watch the video, and I watched the video of Hot Chocolate playing "Everyone's a Winner."
Hot chocolate, of course.
And I have to admit, I was starting to fall in love with 1970s fashion. It's so cool what they're wearing in that film clip.
Yes.
It's just like, why can't I wear that to work now? What's stopping me? And you know what's stopping me? Social acceptance. It's social. People are just mock me for wearing white flares with glitter, you know, big wide lapels on my shirt. You know, it's not fair.
I always thought you didn't really care about social acceptance, Louis. I don't know what that says if that says more about me or you, but yes. And I just want to clarify that, you know, I'm using the words, the adjectives that I'm using are for Formula One, not us. So, you know, it's gripping Formula One, not me and Luigi, although I hope we are a little bit gripping as people listen to this.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd explain that. But yeah, it's 1978.
Okay, here we go. And I was going to say one last thing about the 70s and the Hot Chocolate video, and it applies to the drivers. When you do look at the videos of the drivers of this era, especially about 78, the sideburns are really cool. Most of them have got them.
Absolutely.
You know,
yes.
it lets you know what decade you're in.
Yes, 100%.
other than the really cool cars. But many other than like facial grooming, many teams were very busy in the transition from 77 to 78. Most driver changes were announced in 77, and there were a lot of changes, weren't there, Rosa?
Yes. Oh, yes, there were.
Yeah, as well as the cars, right?
Yeah, you bamboozled me. Yes, there are some pretty big driver changes and some exciting names making their debut this season, some of which we recognise from our era of watching F1, which for me was late 80s and probably for you was more early 80s. Yeah. So, yeah, we can't just gloss over that. So I think we're going to have to go over all of those driver changes in our opening.
And I think that's really important and interesting because we'll start with the reigning champion, Niki Lauda, who left Ferrari before the end of the season in that like big dog move we talked about, where he won the championship and he said, "I'm out of here."
And before the season even ended.
I know.
It was it's massive. Yeah.
Good on him for that. And he joined Brabham alongside John Watson.
That's an interesting move, Louis. What do you think about that? I mean, reigning champion Brabham, where's Brabham sitting in like the hierarchy of the grid at the moment, do you think? Like just intuitively. Like I wouldn't put them up at the top. I'd put them like maybe at the bottom of the top tier at this point.
They were like 1, 2, 3. They were fifth in 1977, but they showed a lot of pace.
Yeah, they did.
They had a lot of unreliability. But remember, Watson was sort of getting on the front row a lot.
It's an interesting move.
Yeah, it's like he's going from an A team to a B team.
Yes. Yeah. And there's no judgment there in particular because a B team can easily become an A team, like especially with, you know, quality driver like Lauda in it. But I think he was just so unhappy with what Ferrari and how Ferrari treated him in that 1976 season That and they even like were very late in signing him for 77 as well. So they were not happy about what he did in 76 and they couldn't understand it and they were late signing him for 77 and, the year was just bad. I think Ferrari dropped the ball on this one. I think they could have kept the world champion driving their car and they stuffed it up.
They did. And they also... Part of having a world champion driver that's really giving you results is making sure you've got the right teammate. And Carlos Reutemann, they sort of pulled him in thinking Lauda was going to pass away, remember in 76?
Yeah.
And Reutemann has a history of not being a good teammate. And it's come. Right. There's more to come, but he is not the best. And they had this really good balance with Lauda and Regazzoni where Lauda could own Regazzoni and Regazzoni was getting up there, seconds and thirds.
I know.
Reutemann, so they had an unhappy number one driver, but getting the results. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they made a mistake as well. I agree.
Anyway, I do want to see Niki Lauda do well. So I hope he does do well in this Brabham team. And we love Brabham, Australian roots and everything, Yeah. Yeah. So good on him. We see another familiar name making their debut for Brabham, Nelson Piquet, Luigi. Yes. Someone that we know a lot about, really, especially in today's Formula One, because he's a bit of a polarising figure in today's Formula One.
He's known for saying very controversial things all through his career. I know he made the racist comments about Hamilton. Was that 24? Was that 25? I can't remember.
24. I think it was 24.
Yeah. He got banned from the paddock. The paddock, because it's a special champions can all go in there sort of thing.
Yes.
But he's said lots of many dodgy things.
I know.
In his whole career. This isn't giving too much away, but he does mention he makes critical comments about how Mansell's wife looked at when Piquet was at the peak of his powers. He made comments about Mansell's wife being ugly. He called Senna a Sao Paulo taxi driver, so and that's just what I remember. That's only my memory. There's more. There's more. Yeah. Yeah. As
a driver, he has some success though. So
he's got pace.
Exactly. So that's why I say he's very polarizing. I don't know that I've ever met anyone, when you ask them who their favorite driver is in history, I don't think I've ever met anyone, even less people than Prost, say Piquet.
Yeah. But there is one person that does look up to Piquet. You know the person.
Oh, my God.
I won't say his surname, but when I say the first name, you know exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Frank.
No way!
He loves Piquet, and I can't understand.
That is so shocking to me. Okay, all right, we'll have to talk about that one offline, boy.
Yeah. So over at Ferrari, we were talking about Reutemann, who is now the number one, the experienced Ferrari driver, I guess now. And guess who his teammate is? None other.
Well, I do know, but you tell our listeners.
None other than this is where the legend starts. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Gilles Villeneuve. So so the father of Jacques Villeneuve. That some people might remember him too. So Gilles filled in for McLaren in '77. So to remind everyone, he's a McLaren driver at heart. And he only did limited races with them and Ferrari, like in '77. And McLaren had the option on him to sign him up for 78, but they didn't take it up. Even though Villeneuve did well in that McLaren in 70, I think it was a British Grand Prix. So Ferrari took him up as a free agent and he got the seat. Yeah.
That is a sliding doors moment for McLaren there as well, isn't it, Louis? And I think I remember that race. He actually did okay. I think he finished in the top 10 or maybe the top 6 or something. I think he got points. I can't exactly remember, but he was filling in for someone. And then, he filled in for Ferrari for one race and he didn't do very well for the Ferrari race. I remember he crashed out or something.
Yeah.
But yes, what do you think? Would Villeneuve's career have been different if McLaren had taken him up?
I think he would have had a very different career because let's put it this way, Ferrari was a good move.
Okay. McLaren. They've been struggling in this late 70s period, haven't they? They've gone off the ball a little bit. So one interesting thing that sorry, you keep going.
I was just going to say, to put in perspective, McLaren had Hunt and Tombe as their drivers. So they had the 76 champ, which you'd say would be their number one, and Tombe was their young driver, I guess.
Yeah,
so they chose Tombe over Villeneuve, pretty much.
Which is interesting, again, isn't it? Like, anyway, we do go through that a bit later on in our points. But one interesting thing about Gilles is that he actually started his racing career in snowmobile racing, Louis, and he won the championship in 74. So the snowmobile championship, which I didn't think was a thing, but there you go. He's gone from like skis and snow to wheels and tarmac. So interesting transition for him. Like we've seen, 2 wheels championships go into 4 wheels, but he's made like a massive transition to actually from snow to tarmac. So there you go. I thought that was interesting.
And he was a wild driver. Like, he really was a risk taker. He did all the crazy activities, things I'd never let a driver do today.
Okay.
And he really lived up to it. So being a ski champion, a snowmobile champion, doesn't surprise me because that sounds super dangerous.
It does.
It's just right up his alley.
Sliding into corners on the skis and like it just, to me, very little control. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So yes, we did
mention Tombe and McLaren. So we talked about that because Mass had left McLaren to join ATS, which I think was not a great move. When you think about it, ATS is not McLaren at least was a recent top level team, but Mass obviously felt maybe he had no choice, to be honest. Maybe they said you're out.
Maybe.
And ATS was a new team which pretty much came out from the remains of Penske and March. So, and March being the old T-Tray car. Now, I don't know why I'm mentioning it because that T-Tray's been gone for a long time. But,
look, you have to mention it. It was iconic. It was an iconic design. Yes. Regazzoni moved to Shadow from Ensign to join Stuck, and Alan Jones left Ensign to join Williams. So that's a big move. So this year, Williams is entering their first self-made chassis as well. So because remember they sort of sold themselves to Wolf and started again with being a customer chassis team. Now they're starting with their own chassis. Yeah. And if there's a sliding doors moment, it's a big one for Alan Jones. Good move. Yes. Good move, Alan. Yes. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of ATS and big name debuts, so we're really honing in on the names that become synonymous for the 80s. So we're starting to see them come in. So we have the debut of Keke Rosberg, who is also the father of Nico Rosberg. So we have 2 fathers of later champions. Yes. Yeah. So technically, Keke Rosberg made his debut with Theodore Racing alongside Eddie Cheever.
Eddie Cheever, that name's familiar to me as well.
He has a long career as a midfield driver, I think.
Okay. Yeah,
so that's pretty exciting.
It is. So, Louis, Keke and Nico, where are they in the Father-Son Hall of Fame?
Gee, that's such a tough one.
We might need a whole other episode on Father-Son's Hall of Fame.
I mean, we can't give away too much, but they both achieve.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say they're anyone's favourite F1 drivers that I know of that I've met. What about you?
No. Yeah, I think I would agree as well. I think I would agree. I think they're kind of an interesting father-son combination, and they do achieve, but I'd put them in like the low top 10 perhaps, because I don't know how many father-sons have been. Not that many, I don't think.
Yeah, no, not many. I'd say they might make my top 20.
Oh, there's not even that many father-sons, is there?
I know. I meant like champions.
Oh, like champions. Okay, not as a combination. Yeah, I agree. Oh, look, we might have a different perspective on Nico, so that would be interesting when we do that scenario.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we also have the debut season for another iconic team of the 80s, Arrows. They operate from this point to, I think they get to the 90s.
They get to the 90s, yeah. So this team came about due to a serious argument within the Shadow team. Former drivers Jack Oliver and a number of other key personnel left to set up Arrows.
Yeah, that's really interesting because it became very legal because the new Arrows car, which they called the FA1, and everyone look at that nice name. It's one representing the first Arrows car. We'll talk more about car names later. It was launched in a remarkably short period of time, being 2 months, or should I say a suspiciously short period of time, because it was essentially a copy of the Shadow DN9.
Whoa.
So as a result, it went to court, etc., and the FA1, the Arrows FA1, was banned mid-year. But Arrows saw the writing on the wall and already had a new car ready.
So, I mean, they deliberately stole the designs from Shadow so that they could participate in the first race in the season is, I think, what happened there. No wonder it went to court. So Gunnar Nilsson was signed with Arrows, but he had to withdraw before the season began as he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And sadly, he would pass away from the disease before the end of the year. So that's very sad.
That's sad. And he won a race. He won a race in that Lotus, and and I think he won did he win the Swedish race? No, I think he won the race before the Swedish race. Yeah. So we're sorry to hear about that for Gunnar.
Yep.
So another new team attempted F1 in 78, a team called Martini Racing. And while they did not qualify for any races, so we'll probably barely mention them, what we do note is that they were fronted by another 1980s legend driver that many of us will know of, that have nostalgia for the 80s, René Arnoux.
Yes. Yep. Some iconic races that he partook in, Luigi, which we'll see in the 80s.
We'll be talking about Arnoux a lot more from 79 onwards, I think.
Yeah, okay. So Ronnie Peterson, after some really lean years at Tyrrell, and he scored only 23 points over 3 seasons. That's really not good for Tyrrell and for Peterson. He was a good driver. He decided to join Lotus. So he knew that he would be second fiddle to number 1 driver Mario Andretti, but he thought he was higher up on the grid with Lotus than Tyrrell, so he made the move. And he was replaced at Tyrrell by another big 80s name, none other than Didier Pironi.
Yeah, it's like they're all coming out of the woodwork, aren't they? And there's a lot of French. There's a lot of French here as well.
Yes.
Because he was joined at Tyrrell by another French driver, Patrick Depailler. So the Tyrrell team, they had one of their worst seasons in 77. It was their first season without a win, which is always a bit of a red cross. And their Project 34, the 6-wheeler, pretty much became uncompetitive. And we talked about that last year, partly due to the lack of tyre development, heavy car. And the experiment, funnily enough, it did well at the beginning, but then it fell away.
Yeah, it fell away. Yeah. Continuing on with the French theme, we have Ligier retained Lafitte. And remember, he won his first race in 77, so they were keen to build on that. They developed a traditional car, though, so I think we'll talk about car development in a minute, but they pretty much stuck with the focus of the airflow going above the car, which is a bit like, this reminds me of when in the 60s everyone was doing rear engine cars and Ferrari was still persisting with their front engine car.
Yeah, 1959 or 60.
I think it was the 60s. So Ligier stuck with the airflow above the car. So anyway, we'll go into a bit more of car development a bit later.
Yeah, and tyre wars were heating up with Enzo Ferrari deciding to leave Goodyear and switch to Michelin, which he thought not only suited his car better, But also this gave Michelin a good foothold into Formula One with obviously a top team in Ferrari and Renault, sort of an emerging team that no doubt Ferrari did not see as a threat. So therefore we're okay to share the tyres with another team and to develop the tyres for the betterment of both teams, I guess.
So, Louis, can we go back to the times when teams get to choose their own tyre manufacturer? I think that would be awesome. Like, I hate the fact that everyone uses the same tyres now. Well, have been for a while, I guess. But I like it.
Yeah, but I know it sounds good, but I mean, I think in previous seasons where we had tyre choices, you've seen that team's on that tyre and all the back end of the grid were on tyre B. And all the front end of the grid were tyre A. So in some respects, may not be good. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I don't know. I like the fact that teams can decide what's best for their car and develop the tyre for their car.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another discussion. So Ferrari also developed a new car, the 312 T3 for 1978. It looks similar, very similar to the 77 model, but it had many technical differences. It was still a 12-cylinder engine with a transverse gearbox, but it was a completely new car other than that.
Yeah. Okay. And it's still a beautiful looking car.
It is, yes.
And the Lotus team, which won more races in 77 versus Ferrari, and questionably should have won the championship. Yeah. But their engine reliability was a real letdown for them.
Yeah, I think Andretti had like 4 retirements in a row, and I think he was either in the lead of the race or near the top of the lead of the race. And those retirements really hurt his championship.
Yeah, and so it's like that really was. If you were going to join a team for 78, that probably would have been the team because they looked like they were on the right path, but their reliability, But Chapman was determined to persist with the wing car because remember it was a wing car that he was using. Yeah, and he actually sponsored a person called Peter Wright from the University of California to undertake research on thermodynamics and aerodynamics to evolve his car further for 78. That's some pretty heavy. It's heavy, isn't it?
Very Colin Chapman, isn't it? Always looking for the next development foothold. So using the learnings from the Lotus 78 from 77, he builds the Lotus 79. Yeah, Luigi's going to go on a rant now.
It's nuts. I've complained about it before. But why do Lotus use numbers close to the actual year to make confusion? Like, listen to what Rosa said. Learning from the Lotus 78 from 77 to build the Lotus 79 in 1978. It's like he's an engineering genius, Colin Chapman, but he's not a naming genius.
Yes.
That's his blind spot.
Okay. But he was responsible for the next technical evolution in F1 with the design of the car to form a ground effect under the car. So this would reduce the air pressure under the car and suck it to the ground. So basically he wanted the air to pass underneath the car and suck it to the ground.
Yeah, and to make this work properly, he used plastic skirts along the side of the car like the Lotus 78 from 77, but the car had to be, but the car had to be redesigned to give a completely clean flow from front to rear. And this meant placing the driver further forward in the car and changing the suspension. So,
other changes were a special gearbox that allowed for clutchless gear changing, which just is just foreign concept to me, but there you go. And this allowed the driver to keep the power on through the corners for longer periods of time, and it gave better balance to the car as well. So, he's really challenging the way that cars work.
Yeah, and it's really impressive. And Lotus did have teething issues with the Lotus 79. So up until Belgium, which I think is sort of 5th or 6th race of the season from memory, they were using the Lotus 78, which was also the car that did really well in 77, that won those races, won more races than the Ferrari.
Yes. So there's another revolutionary car on the grid, Louis. It's the infamous Brabham, what you like to call the fan car. And if you've got a chance, people listening, you should go and actually Google this car. It is it's a really weird looking car, actually.
Yeah, and it looks really cool as well as weird. Like from the front, it's a cool design, and at the back, it looks really different.
Yes,
but I'll describe it as a big fan bolted to the back of the car, facing outward behind the driver. And the idea of the fan, the indirect idea, we'll talk about that, was to suck the car down to the track surface.
Yes. So the car did have skirts like the Lotus, but the idea of the Brabham's fan was to stop air going under the car. So unlike the Lotus, which was encouraging air to go under the car. So everyone had like different concepts of this ground effect.
Yeah. And so it was like Chapman had stimulated ideas which may have gone in a different direction, but still following the principles of something to do with the air down there, you know. So it essentially created a low-pressure environment and sucked the car down to the track. And the Brabham team knew that movable aerodynamic devices were not permitted, and this was a workaround they did, which was interesting. So explain the workaround, Rosa.
Yeah, so Gordon Murray developed this, and he argued that the main purpose of the fan was to cool the engine by drawing in air through a water radiator mounted across the top of the engine.
Yeah, so many other teams immediately protested this new car, especially because the fan also picked up all the debris on the track that the car drove over and would throw it up into the path of any following cars, which I think is hilarious.
That is hilarious. That is so funny. The situation escalated and eventually the fan car was banned. Not because it was considered a movable aero device, but because of the ever-increasing cornering speeds that were putting drivers at safety risks.
Yeah. So it was the famous Brabham car, which is called the BT46B. So the B was the fan cars. The BT46 was their normal car. Was very controversially withdrawn, as Rosa mentioned. Lauda was very unhappy about it, and we will get to that later in the season when that race comes.
Yeah, it was. They only entered it in one race. Interesting. It will be interesting to see what it did in that race.
Yeah.
Of course, Brabham not only had defending champion Niki Lauda, but they also had a new sponsor from Martini and Rossi, which looked really cool. They had Parmalat, which is very famous. I remember this design. And it was an Italian dairy company. So people don't know that, I don't think. But they stayed with Brabham for many, many years, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was cool. It looked like a really cool design. This car colour is different to the Parmalat most people would think of from the 80s, which is the iconic blue and white.
But
it's got I think the red comes from Martini, but it's a really cool design, and I like it. And I don't mind that it's a dairy company because as a young Luigi, I didn't know it was a dairy company, so it just sounded and looked cool, you know.
Well, it's more wholesome than alcohol or cigarettes.
True, healthier, And I think it helped that that Brabham had the Alfa Romeo engine as well, so it was like a real Italian connection. Yeah. So going into the season, everyone had their money on Ferrari, with Lotus being their main competition. So basically the same sort of top two teams as 77. So I guess we've run out of time, Rosa. So again, the opening has taken the whole episode. That's okay. It shows it was an interesting opening, doesn't it? So,
yes, it does.
So those of you listening, apologies, but we'll start with the first race next episode.
Okay. See you then.
Okay. Bye, everyone.